Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and today is my first update for my Pandos Eyeshadows project pen. I have already done this project in the last year, so if you want to check it out, I will leave the playlist down below in the description box. And I've also created a new playlist for this year. So I would say this will be a bit of a longer video, so let's just jump straight into it. So let's just start with the first palette that I worked on. This is the Deuce Palette by Juvia's Place, and the shade that I have been working on is called Crab, which is a beautiful rusty, pinky, reddy, orangey color. I can't really describe the color, it's so beautiful, but it's undescribable, and I just loved using it. So let's just take a look into this palette. I could not only hit pan in this shade here that was in my project, but I could also hit bonus pan in this shade here, which is called Berry Mousse. And this is such a beautiful, extremely light transition shade for me, and it's perfect for kind of blending out any other eyeshadow that I'm using. So this is the shade that was in this project, and it's such a beautiful tone. I have to swatch it again for you because it's just so beautiful. It's a very bright color, but it's not too bright. I don't know what this weird tone is, but it works so nice on me. I loved using it, and I especially loved pairing it with another shade that was in this project. I'm going to show it to you next. This one here, I'm also going to swatch it for you, but it's very light, so you can't barely see it on my skin. But it's beautiful for blending out other eyeshadows. So this is what this palette is looking like now. We do have 3 pans in this palette, and I'm so excited. I kind of fell in love again with this shade here and this one here. I have never really used this shade in the top row, but it's so beautiful. And I discovered that when I applied this one here first and then I layered this one on top of it, it creates the most stunning silvery periwinkle shade of my dreams. So I'm just going to show it to you because I just have to let you into this secret. So I just apply the silver here. And I think because it has this darker base to it, it really transformed this shade here. And this one here is a topper that shifts from a pink to a blue. And when I layer it on top of the silver, it creates this beautiful periwinkle shade. I mean, look at it. How gorgeous is this? I'm so in love with this shade. So if you have this palette, you have to try this combination out because, I mean, it's so stunning. And it's also so wet looking. This shift is just amazing. So I have worn those two together so much. So I think I would love to work on this shade next. But I mean, if it's not in my Pandos Eyeshadows project in the next round, I think I will, you know, work on other palettes first. But I would love to come back to this shade here and hit pan in it. So I love that I can see so much usage now on this palette because I really do love this palette. So I'm glad that I can now see it here. So this is the first one, and I've hit 1 pan and then 1 bonus pan, so I'm very excited. So the next palette that I've worked on is my BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette, and it was this brown, reddish brown to green blue shifting shade, and it's called Cactus. And you will see that I've also hit pan in this one. It's this one here. And this one here is so beautiful. I loved pairing it with the red shade that you've seen before in the Deuce Palette because this one here has this weird reddish brown. You can see it when I shear it out that it has this reddish brown base to it, and it was so beautiful on top of the red from the Deuce Palette. So they paired so well together, and this is actually very stunning looking. I loved using it all over my lid or on my outer corner, and this green shift is so beautiful, and then this reddish base. It's an amazing eyeshadow. I'm so impressed by this palette. Every time I use it, I'm just even more impressed than I was before. The shades perform so good, and I know that this palette has been quite a bit hyped up on YouTube, and I really understand why. It's so beautiful. I don't know why nobody's talking about it nowadays, but I mean, I know not a lot of people are talking about older palettes, but this one is such a great one, and especially for people that love warm tones, this is an amazing palette. So if you're still, I don't know, in the need of a warm toned neutral palette with lots of shimmer options and some pops of blue in it, this is an amazing option for that. So I love this palette, and I'm so glad that I have another pan in it. I started to work on this shade here, which is called Sand. It's just a matte cream eyeshadow, but I was able to hit pan in another one this month, and you will see it in this video. But that's why I couldn't hit pan in this one, because I just started working on it maybe 1 week ago. So I have started to see some progress in it, but I wasn't able to hit pan in this one. But if this palette is again in this project in the next month, I'm going to hit pan in this one as well as a bonus pan. I think I will be able to hit pan in this one here as a bonus pan. So we will see what gets rolled in the next round. Then this is the BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast palette, and I was working on the dark green metallic in here, which is called Extra. And I think this one was the hardest one for me to hit pan in, but I was still able to hit pan in it. This palette is quite new to me, so I've only bought it in August, I think, and I haven't really used it that much ever since I got it, but I do love green eyeshadow, so I was so excited to have this shade in my project, and I really did love using it. I created so many beautiful green looks with it. I loved using it as like an all-over shimmer shade, which was a bit intense and a bit dark, so it didn't do that look a lot, but I did it once and it was so stunning. And then I absolutely loved using it on my outer corner for deepening up looks, and also for adding it as a winged eyeliner. It's so stunning as a winged liner. This dark, yummy green metallic is just, it's an amazing eyeshadow. It's so beautiful, and I really loved using it. So it was a bit harder for me to use because it is this intense dark green metallic, but I really enjoyed it. And I just love this palette overall, so I was very excited to have it in this project. Then the next shade was in my Blueberry Muffin palette by BH Cosmetics, and it was the shade Cravings. And in this palette are, I think, 4 different kind of champagne colors that are almost looking like the same, but I really figured out the differences in this last month because I was working with this palette so much. So as you can see, I was also able to hit pan in Cravings here. It's this shade here. It's more of a tiny baby pan, but still it is a pan. That's quite good for me because it was really hard to use this eyeshadow. I have to be honest. It's a beautiful, very sparkling topper eyeshadow, and I just didn't feel like very sparkly eyeshadows in the last month. So I prefer something. So in the last months, I preferred eyeshadows that were a bit more metallic and had a strong sheen to them, but that weren't as crumbly and that haven't that much fallout and that much tiny micro glitters in it. So it's a beautiful eyeshadow. It really is. It's so sparkly and it adds so much sparkle and drama to a look, but for me it was almost too much in the last month. That doesn't have to, so it's really a beautiful eyeshadow. It just wasn't the right one for me in the last month, so it was a bit harder for me to hit pan in it. And I think that's also the reason why I only hit this little baby pan in it. I really preferred working with Crumble. This is more like an everyday shimmer shade for me, so this one is way better for me than this one was in the last months. I'm glad that it is in this palette, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful eyeshadow. It's just, you know, it wasn't what I was looking for in the last month. So I used this one here a lot. And then Sweet is a bit more on the golden side, which I also like. And Sugared is basically the same formula as Cravings. It's just more like a very light white to a golden sheen. And this one is more like a champagne with a bit of pink and blue micro glitters in it. So they are all different and they all kind of serve a different purpose for me. So this one was a bit harder for me to work on, but it is a beautiful eyeshadow. And I'm very glad to have now 2 pans in this palette. Then the last palette that was in this project is my Essence Out in the Wild Don't Stop Believing palette. And it's also more like a green palette. And as you can see, I have this dark green color here was in my project and I could hit pan in it. You can see it's only a very tiny baby pan, but I use this shade almost all the time as an eyeliner. So that's why the pan is this shape, because I use an angled brush with it. And I loved using it as an eyeliner. It's a beautiful, very dark olivey color. And I also loved using it on my outer corner. So this is a beautiful eyeshadow. It performs so good. And overall, I fell so hard in love with this palette. It's amazing. I loved using these as transition shades and also this one here in my outer corner. And then as you can see, I could hit a bonus pan. I hope that you can see it in this matte cream color here. So this was the shade that I was working on, and that's why I couldn't hit pan in the one from BH Cosmetics. But I'm so glad to have 2 pans in this palette now. This is a very new palette to me, so that's quite an achievement. But the pans aren't that deep, they are pretty shallow, so it was very easy to get down there and I didn't have to use them a lot. So maybe 10 uses and I could hit pan in both of them. So this is what the palette is looking like at the moment, and I'm very excited with this update. So now I'm going to show you some looks that I've created with these palettes over the last month. And you will see that I love to pair the red color from the Deuce Palette together with the more duochrome color from the Desert Oasis palette. This is such a beautiful look that I love doing. I did it more than once. So I applied the red color into my crease and then the red base with the green duochromeness all over the lid, and it has such a beautiful and intense look to it. It's very grungy looking and I loved it so much. And then this is a look that I did a lot. So I just used the olive color, the matte one from the Essence palette on my outer corner and in my crease, and then I blended it out with the very light nude color from the Deuce palette. And then I applied the color Cravings from the Blueberry Muffin palette on the inner part of my lid. And then I applied the beautiful green metallic from the Avocado Toast palette as an eyeliner. So that is a look that I did more than once. And that way I could use 4 out of 5 eyeshadows from this project pretty often. So it was pretty good. A lot of the times you can see on the lower lash a shadow from my Panda palette, which is the Norvina palette by ABH. So it's also a lot of the times in a look in this project. So because I was able to hit pan in all 5 of the eyeshadows, I'm going to roll in 5 new ones. So we're going to select the 5 eyeshadow palettes first, and then we're going to randomly select the eyeshadows in the palette. So let's start with choosing the eyeshadow palettes. So this app is called Tiny Decisions, just if you also want to create a wheel like this with all your eyeshadow palettes in it. It's very fun to kind of create this wheel and then use it. So the first one is the Anastasia Sultry Palette. Then the next one is again the BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin Palette. Oh yay, I'm so excited. The next one is my Anastasia Riviera Palette. Oh, that's so cool. Then the next one is the Beauty Bay Book of Magic Palette. And now let's see what the last one is. And the last one is my e.l.f. Mint palette. Oh my god, I'm so excited for all of these. So let me just grab them and then we will see what eyeshadows I get. So I've grabbed all the eyeshadow palettes and I'm so excited. There is a lot of color in these palettes, so I think I will get a bit more of a colorful combination this round. So we will see. I'm so excited. I think these palettes are all perfect for the springtime, so I'm so excited to get into them. Let's start with the biggest one. This is from Beauty Bay. It's called the Book of Magic palette and it has 20 colors in it. So as you can see, I have only gotten this palette at the end of the year and I didn't really use it that much since I got it. I think I've used this one here the most. It's called Crystal. It's a beautiful duochrome. And overall, the color story is very out there for me, so I just haven't been craving towards this much color lately, but I think it's great to have it in the project. I think the two that would be the easiest ones for me would be Crystal and Moonlight because they are more like glittery topper shades. All the other ones would be kind of the same difficult. I think the warm tones wouldn't be my favorites to work on, but I could do it, so it's okay. I love the shimmer formula in this Beauty Bay palette, so I'm excited. So I have just put something on top of the mirror here. So now we are going to use my random number generator app here and I'm going to generate a number between 1 and 20. And it's the number 5. So it's this matte purple here. That's very exciting. I haven't worked on a matte colorful shade in a longer time, so I don't know. I'm excited for this one and I do love purple eyeshadow. This is a very soft pastel shade and it feels very buttery and smooth. So I haven't played too much with the mattes in here, so I think that's pretty exciting and it's good for me to have this palette now in the project, but because I think I really didn't use it that much after I got it and I don't know, I kind of neglected it a bit for that it's a new palette and I should kind of figure out how much I like it and if I do like the formula. So I think it's great to work on a matte in here because I already know that I like the shimmers in here. So I'm very excited for this one and it's a perfect spring color for me. Then let's continue straight away with my BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin palette again. I have zoomed you in a bit and we already have 2 pans, so we have to have something else in it. I'm not going to work on this shade here. If it gets selected, I'm going to generate a different one because I don't like these dark colors with glitter in it. So, I mean, it's micro glitter, but still I don't like dark mattes with micro glitter in it. So I'm not going to work on this one here, but everything else would be okay. It would be so fun to have maybe this one here next to this one, or Delish here down there. Maybe this periwinkle shade would be great with this one together, or some of the shimmer shades. So I'm excited. So now I'm going to generate a number between 1 and 20 again. And it's the number 20, so it's the dark blue down here. This one here is called Stud Muffin. And it's a beautiful, like a dark steel blue metallic. So I think this will be another one that I'm going to use as an eyeliner a lot and I think it's beautiful. Oh my god, look at this color. How beautiful is that? I'm already so excited for this color combination. So in this little e.l.f. palette here I only have 4 eyeshadows, so I'm going to generate a number between 1 and 4. And it's the number 3, so it's this matte mint color. This one here doesn't have a lot of pigment to it. I have said it in my review. If you want to hear a bit more about this palette, you have to check out my haul video, my latest one. And this one here is a shade that you kind of have to build up a lot. So I think I will be able to hit pan in it because, I mean, you have to use so much of it if you want to like make it really show up on your skin. And I'm very fair, so usually you can see pastels show up pretty easy on me, but this one here is really more of a tough one, so you have to use quite a lot of it if you want to make it to show up. These two are so perfect for spring. I'm so excited for these colors. So this is what my Sultry palette is looking like, and as you can see I have already 6 pans in this palette, so these 3 here in the top row and these 3 here in the bottom row. So I think because I already have so much pan in this palette, I'm only going to generate a number between 1 and 8, and I'm just counting from 1 to 4 and then from 5 to 8 in this direction. So I'm just going to generate a number between 1 and 8 here. And it's number 7. So number 7 is the color Slate, and it's this gray matte color that I have already started working on. I love this eyeshadow as a transition shade, so this is pretty good for me because to have one neutral, like everyday shade in this project makes it so much easier to work on these shades. Oh, this is so buttery feeling. I love this eyeshadow and I quite like this color combination. It's very fun. I'm quite happy to have this palette back in a project like this because I would love to hit pan in all these shades in this year. So we will see if we can do that. I think my goal for this palette is actually to hit pan in this one and to hit bonus pan in Cyborg. We will see if I can achieve that, but this would be so amazing if I could do that. So we will see, but I'm officially working on Slate. Then the last palette is my Riviera palette, and I'm so excited that I have it in the project because I wanted to work on this palette for such a long time. I thought that this one would be my panded palette for the whole year, but then I've decided to go with the Norvina palette. And so I'm so excited to have it in the project now. As you can see, I love this palette. I hope that you can see I have huge dips in the metallics in here. They are so beautiful. Those two here would be the hardest ones for me because they're a bit patchy when I apply them, and I don't know, this purple is too bright for the outer corner and I don't use a purple like this in my crease all the time. And also Bahamas, the very bright neon pink, would be very hard for me to work on. But I mean, I would do it, but just that you know, I think the top row would be way easier for me. Now in this palette are 14 eyeshadows, so I'm going to generate a number between 1 and 14. And it's the number 6. And number 6 is this very bright golden yellow shade. It's called Inheritance and it's a beautiful eyeshadow. I'm going to put it here. I already have a pretty good dip in this one here, so I think this will be pretty easy for me. So this is our color story. I'm so excited. Who would have guessed that I get these colors here? So I have 3 mattes and 2 metallics. I think metallics are easier to hit pan in, so I think these 3 could be a bit more of a challenge for me than those 2, but this one here, I mean, is a very dark one, so I really have to use it as an eyeliner, I think, or otherwise I couldn't hit pan in it. So my goal is, as always, to hit pan in all 5 of these, and my other goal is to kind of hit at least 2 bonus pans, I think. I think 2 bonus pans is what is my comfort zone. So I really want to hit pan in all 5 of these and then maybe 2 other ones. Maybe I could hit pan in Sales or maybe one of the shimmer shades in here because I have already so much, I don't know, progress in this palette that you can't really see, but I think it would be easy to hit pan in one of the other shimmers in here. So maybe I can do that. So this is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this update. I'm so excited for my new eyeshadows that I can work on now because I was getting a bit bored of the old ones. So I'm very excited to have new colors now and new eyeshadow palettes to work on in general. So I'm so excited for this round. I'm so happy that I have the Riviera palette. I think it's the perfect month for it because it's the beginning of spring and I just love using this eyeshadow palette in spring because I think it was released in spring 2 years ago. So it's kind of, I don't know, I always remember it in the springtime and I always want to use it in the springtime. And I have so fond feelings for this palette and I'm very excited to dip into these metallics again. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see some updates, and don't forget to check out my other project pan videos. I will be linking them down below in the description box. If you have enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button, and thank you all so much for watching. I wish you all a beautiful day.